Hi, this is Carole with Dowsing tip number 23. And today I want to talk about the why even dowse, and also to look at other ways that you can get answers. So the idea behind dowsing is that it gives us a visual signal of what we're feeling in our gut. What is the abdominal brain telling us? And that inner voice that I call the headset. Why, how do we know those are right? Because this intuition should be unclouded by subconscious belief systems. And so the idea is we've got to drill down and understand why, what's coming up, and know whether it's good information or not. So first of all, you do want to know if it is your information. And empaths here, people who feel others' feelings. Sometimes you can hear other people's thinking, what they're thinking, saying, can come up, and it can very much cloud the world. So one way to look at it is to use what I call the isolation booth. What happens if you start feeling overwhelmed, maybe overwhelming sadness, and it's like, why, where'd that come from? Then step into one of those old-fashioned isolation booths that were all plexiglass, and door closes behind you and you leave the world outside. Listen, take a few deep breaths, and see, how do you feel now that you're separated from the world, now that you're in the booth and everything, it's just you. And is that feeling of sadness stronger, weaker, whatever? And then after that, step out of the booth, take another couple breaths, and reassess, how am I feeling? And if outside the booth that feeling of sadness overwhelms you again, but inside the booth you felt fine, then you know that it's not your stuff, it's other people's stuff, is what I call it. And so now the time is to understand that and begin to learn to let it pass through you. Don't get hung up by it. Oh, I'm sad, everything's going wrong today. Oh, well, no, not for you, but maybe for somebody you ran into at the supermarket. Learn to let it go. Not mine, not mine. Or put a cloak of invisibility around you like Harry Potter had, that would help buffer him from the energies around you. It'll help. So going back to testing for yeses and nos, if you don't use a pendulum, there are a couple really quick ways that you can learn to use that will save you if you need a quick answer. And one is called the Indian method of dowsing. And basically, if you stand up with feet slightly apart, balanced, and ask a question, and let your body be the pendulum. So if you ask, and always practice with something you know the answer to. So if I ask, is my name Carole Conlon, I will rock forward just a little bit and go back to neutral. Is my name Roger Rabbit? And so my body shies away from that answer. So it's one way to test pretty quickly. You just have to be relaxed and let it happen. If you're sitting, sit on the edge of the chair. So that's one way. A second way is to access those yeses and nos is to use muscle testing. And for one person, the idea is to use the fingers. So we take the middle finger and the thumb and put those together, And now what we want to do is with your other hand, loop and peel them apart. Just pop them apart. And that gives you an idea of how much strength it takes to pull the fingers apart. Once you've done that, put the finger thumb together one more time, and then you can start asking questions. A yes, it's going to let the fingers separate. A no, they sort of cement together. So again, is my name Carole Conlon? Yes. Is my name Roger Rabbit? No. And I am pulling. I am really pulling hard. So that is a second way you can test. A third way is to use your thumbnail. It's the pad of a finger and your thumbnail, and basically just run the pad of the finger over the thumbnail. Is my name Carole Conlon? No problem. Is my name Roger Rabbit? And it sticks. So you can sit in a meeting and test everybody. Every word that's coming up, is it true or false? And very inconspicuously. So those are 3 ways you can test for yeses and nos. But I will say, once you start working with your intuition, once you start improving it, practicing it, listening to it, your whole body starts to change, and you'll reach a point even where your sensitivity to foods will change, which is often a disappointment and a surprise. So no longer can you ask, is this good for me or not? You want to ask, what percent compatibility is it, instead of just a straight yes or no. And therefore, again, going back to that simple chart I had with the percentages, 0 to 10, there you need a device to point to the numbers. If you don't have that, you can do any number of things, but if you want to know if you're 100% compatible with something, you can do a pure yes or no. If you want to try certain food, you could say, am I more than 50% compatible, yes or no? Yes. Am I 80, 90% compatible? Yes. And work it that way. It just takes longer. But keep asking. If you get no, you're not compatible, what percentage? Find it and get your answer. So those are a few ways that you can do other types of testing, not using a pendulum, and getting answers, yes or no answers, for what you need to know. And start looking at what you understand is yours. Think of those belief systems and try to understand whether you're being affected by the rest of the world. And that's where the isolation booth exercise comes in and is really helpful. Or you ask, is this answer affected by the matrix I'm in, for example, yes or no? Is this answer coming from me and a place of neutrality, yes or no? So look at these different ways of testing. If you don't want to pendulum, learn one of these other methods and go for it, because you'll be empowered by being able to get your own answers, and life will be more or less under control. So that was dowsing tip number 23. Why even learn to dowse and some other methods to do it. Have a great day.